Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Peace be upon you, as they say. I'd like to share something that happened to me today. You know, there's a saying from Rabbi Nachman of Breslev in the Likutei Moharan. It's one line, and it's one of his most quoted lines in all of the things that he ever had said. And it's this, that the whole world is a very narrow bridge, and the main thing is not to be afraid. Kol olam kulo gesher tsar meod, v'ha'ikar lo yivchad klal. So, what does this mean? The whole world is a narrow bridge, and I'm walking on it, presumably, and I don't want to be afraid. Why? Because I might fall off? So I had an experience happen to me today in shul, toward the end of davening. And, the last 4 years have been financially difficult. And so, that's just the background here. So I see a man going to give some tzedakah. He needs to make some change. And he's got some sort of money purse, like business owners have, like the satchels with the cash in it. And he comes by, and it's open, and I'm looking in there, and I'm seeing, $100 bills, $20 bills. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I wish I had that. And even that right there is a madrega of kina, so to speak, right? You're not supposed to be jealous of what other people have. But I'm saying this because there's another more serious offense in terms of jealousy, which is you look at what someone else has, God forbid, and you say, not everyone should have what they want, right? God forbid that someone should look at what someone else has and say, well, why can't, step one, why can't I have that? Step two, well, why do they have that? Why do they have that? What do they do to deserve that? That's a type of jealousy that brings judgment on people, on yourself, on others, and it's forbidden to have this type of mentality. It's one of the 10 commandments, right? So thank God, this particular area with money is not one where I feel jealous per se of other people. I see him with the money and I say to myself, wow, it'd be nice if I could have that, but I don't say, why does he have that? That's his stuff. He has money. Okay, great. I like to watch house tours on YouTube, and I see these beautiful homes that people live in, and I don't get jealous about it. Thank God for this, at least. In terms of this particular point we're discussing. This person has their huge home with 13 bedrooms and 15 bathrooms and a pool. Okay, beautiful. I appreciate the beauty and the architecture of this home. Wow, wonderful. I'm so happy. And by the way, I once watched an interview with the guy that does these house tours, and he spoke about some of the millionaires that he does the tours for, showing their properties on YouTube. And he says, one guy said to me, yeah, I never swam in this pool, ever. They're so busy working, they don't even have time to enjoy. So it just goes to show you, always, when you see someone has something that you don't remember, they have challenges that you don't. You have your challenges, they have their challenges. And your challenges are good for you, and their challenges are good for them. But that's not the point we're speaking about here. I'm just saying that, for me, I can see that and say, okay, all right, well, that's for them, and good for them. They have that. But there are other areas in my life where I don't feel that way. I look at what someone else has, and I get jealous about it. And I say, well, how come they can have that? How come I can't have that thing that they're having? So plug in whatever it is for you. For some people, maybe it's physical health. They walk around and they see someone who is, in great shape. They got a full head of hair. They look like they're able to work out regularly or whatever. And then they look at themselves, they say, why does this person get to be so healthy? Why can't I be healthy? Why do they get to be healthy and I can't? Or whatever it is, some people, they see their kids are all doing so well in school, and their own kids have behavior problems or whatever it is. How come their kids are like this? And why do they get to have such nice kids? So again, everyone has areas that they're naturally good at, and others that they're not good at. And so too with this particular inyan, this particular topic we're discussing. So for me, maybe the money thing is not such a trigger, but other things definitely are. I can't share exactly what they are, but I probably said enough with the money piece, but everyone has triggers. And this is where the line from Rabbeinu comes into play. Gesher tsar ma'od, because the nakuda about money for me, that's my island. That's the island I live on, and I'm okay there. We're good there. We're not good. There's always room for improvement. But okay, in a manner of speaking, we're okay here. I'm not getting triggered by the sight of all his overflowing bag with money. Good for him. I'm happy for him. This is great. But there's another island not too far from here where I do get triggered. Whatever that nakuda is for me, whatever that point is for me. And I have to build a bridge from the place where I'm good to the place where I'm not. Because I have to go and fix that place. Just like in your brain, you have cells or neurons or what, I'm not a neurosurgeon, but they click together like Lego pieces to transfer chemicals in the brain or whatever it is that make your brain function. We're talking about the same thing here. And I have to go from island to island working on each nakuda. And it's a very narrow bridge, and I can't be afraid. What does it mean to be afraid when you're walking on a tightrope or a narrow bridge? You're afraid you're going to fall off, or you're afraid something is chasing you. And you don't want to be like that. And you want to go from nakuda to nakuda, from thing to thing, metakening, fixing each thing as you go along. And that's the main thing of life. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tsar ma'od. Life, the world that you live in, this is the avoda, this is the work that we're doing. Okay, so you're good at this thing here. So now you have to build a bridge and take that energy over to this thing over there. And you have to fix that thing now. And once you fix that thing, you're going to have to go fix another thing. You know, in World War II, the Americans had to fight the Japanese all the way across the ocean. How did they do it? Did they try to take every single island that they could, sweeping across the whole ocean? No, that would have stretched them too thin. They focused on one island at a time. It's called island hopping. They would go from one island to the next, even skipping over things that didn't matter as much, until they got closer and closer as they could to Japan, until they were finally able to launch bombers from these islands over the Japanese mainland. So that's the same thing we're doing here. We're hopping from island to island, and each island is a nakuda that we have to work on. So we start on one that we're good at. We have to take that same energy and build a bridge to the next thing and fix it. That's why, with this strange quote, right? What's life? Life is a bridge. Literally, the whole world is a narrow bridge. But life is a bridge. Don't fall off. Don't be afraid. What does that even mean? It means that my life, I have to go from thing to thing, from strength to strength, as the pasuk says in Tehillim, right? I have to go and take the energy that I'm successful with and on the first nakuda and bring it to the next one, and the next one after that, and the next one after that. And this idea of not having jealousy, this is expressed in another story, one of Rabbi Nachman's stories. I forget which one it was. It's about a worker man, a shoemaker who's just chilling in his own vibe. And his work is not really good. And he's poor, but he doesn't care. He puts on some old rags. He says, "This is a fur coat. I'm so happy to eat my fur coat." His wife gives him moldy bread. He says, "Wow, this is delicious beef stew." And in that book, there's a phrase that's used, "Ze maseh shali, ze maseh shalo." I think that's the phrase. I'm not sure. I think this is also in Likutei Maharan somewhere. But basically, this is his work. This is my work. That's your stuff. This is my stuff. And my stuff doesn't have to become your stuff, and your stuff doesn't have to become my stuff. This inyan of this is my work, this is your work. What does this remind us of? This reminds us of the two keruvim, the two cherubs that were on the cover of the Ark of the Covenant, of the Aron that held the Luchos, that held the Ten Commandments, in the Kodesh Kodashim, in the Holy of Holies. And what happens when the two keruvim face each other? Or what is that space between their two faces? That is the space from which Hashem's voice emanated to speak to Moshe with prophecy, with nevuah. Not even above prophecy, face to face. In other words, as we move through life, going from island to island, and taking that energy of Zeh Maseh Shalo, Zeh Maseh Shali, that's your work, this is mine. I don't have to be jealous of you. As we move through and we go to each nakuda and we mitaken that, we transform that, we bring into that the aspect of the two keruvim facing each other, and from there we hear God himself, as it were, speaking to us. And we get that clarity. we get that clarity of knowing what we're supposed to do and what's going on in life, as opposed to a lack of clarity, which comes from not knowing what God is trying to tell us. So this is just a thought I had this morning that I wanted to share with you, and hopefully we can take this and we can improve from strength to strength. Everyone have a great day.